Do you know who I am? I'm kind of a big deal.
Hello and welcome inside. It's a special edition of the Bmore Baseball Podcast, although every edition is special, especially to 14-year MLB veteran, my partner, Mike Bordick. I'm Jerry Coleman. We're producing brand new content, folks, every day on X, on Instagram, on Facebook. You can follow us simply at Bmore Sports Pod. Bmore Sports Pod is also where our YouTube page is located. When you subscribe to our YouTube page, just show us evidence, as producer Chip Franklin likes to describe it, that you've subscribed, and you become eligible for a $50 gift card from Lido Pizza. Episode 26, Bordy, we got an exclusive ahead with Rafael Palmiero, the one and only. He'll be back in Baltimore and explain why coming up next month. Mike and I will also talk about the Orioles' decision to bring up some of their younger prospects and the timing of that decision. And Dr. Michael Jacobs will examine Felix Bautista's latest injury, one that will not permit him to pitch probably for a long time. All right, well, let's bring in our featured guest. He's brought to us, as all guests are, sponsored by Pappas Seafood. From crab cakes to seafood delights, Pappas has it for you. You got their address right there on the screen. We welcome in, well, former Oriole, former Ranger, former Cub. We could go down the list. He is Rafael Palmiero. Rafi, thanks for taking the time and joining us on the podcast. Really much appreciated.
I appreciate you guys having me on. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get into it. What have you been up to? I know you were in Baltimore recently. Tell us about your experience in the Charm City coming back. Did you make a trip out to Camden Yards by chance?
I did. Actually, I went to a game on Sunday, but, I hadn't been back to Baltimore in such a long time since actually my career ended. I've been back in the surrounding areas. I was in Bowie a few years ago when my son was with the Orioles, but not really in Baltimore. And the last time I was at a game at Camden Yards, it was in 2005 at the end of my career. So it was kind of weird. But also it was weird because I was sitting in the stands. I've never sat in the stands at Camden Yards to watch a game. I was always in the dugout. So it was kind of weird, but actually felt good to be there, to be back. And some of the fans actually recognized me. So it was pretty cool to be there.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. That must have been a great experience. I mean, 20 years removed, though, from Camden Yards and all the incredible things that you did there. Can you talk about your feelings? Because all I remember a little bit more about this, but golly, Rafi, when you were with the Orioles, when we were teammates for a short time, the Rafi train, man, would light up the night sky, and you were the best left-handed hitter in baseball, man. And the crowd was sold out every night, and that place would just go upside down. I mean, you were flipping out 39, 40 home runs, 120 RBIs year after year after year. When that train would go across, we would all in the clubhouse just kind of look, or the locker room, look at each other like, here it goes again, man. You're just the man. And I just want to know a little bit more about your emotions, because you've been a lot in an Oriole uniform.
Well, we had some great years there, obviously, but I don't know about being the best left-handed hitter during the time, because we had some massive boppers. Ken Griffey Jr., Mo Vaughn, Jim Thome were left-handed guys that were knocking 50 home runs during the season. So, but my time there was great. I enjoyed Baltimore. I got a chance to play with you and Cal Ripken and Robbie. And, we had some great teams there. We made a run in 96 and 97. That was great. We sold out every night. We got close to 4 million people in the seats those 2 years. So, yeah, I enjoyed Baltimore. Obviously I live here in Texas, and I would always come back here in the off season. My kids were in school here. But my time in Baltimore was great. And I just, it sucked the way that it ended, because I really had a great career there, and I enjoyed every minute of it.
Tell me about
that's always the question. That's always the question. Do you consider yourself an Oriole or a Ranger? Because Baltimore was sort of sandwiched around your years in Texas.
Yeah, I consider myself both. I mean, I started with the Cubs. I only played there for 2 years. I got traded here to Texas. I played here for 10 years. I played here more, and I live here. I've been living here now for over 30 years. But, my time in Baltimore was great. I mean, like I said, 7 years. We had some great teams there. I made some good friends. I had some great memories. And so, yeah, I don't consider myself a Texas Ranger or a Baltimore Oriole. I consider myself both.
So when you eventually get into the Hall of Fame, because you have over 3,000 hits and 500 home runs, will you have a split hat or just go in as a player, or are you going to pick a team, man?
Well, man, I really don't think about that stuff anymore, because, I think my time came and went when it came to that. And so, I've waited now, 15 years. I was on the ballot for a few years, and then I got off the ballot after about 3 or 4 years. And so I'm not sure what's going to happen. It seems like things are kind of loosening up a little bit. Hopefully, Pete Rose could be the first one in of the players that have been held back, and then we'll see what happens. But at this point, I'm not really looking into that. I'm not, obviously, hopefully, I'm hoping that at some point they would consider me to be in the Hall of Fame. But I really don't. I don't expect it. I don't really think about it, and it's just not a big deal at this point.
Yeah, I expected that to be your answer, but the doors are certainly not locked with the Veterans Committee still looking at potential candidates. I mean, hopefully it happens while you're still alive.
Well, I had a chance a couple of years ago with the Veterans Committee, and I got 1 vote. So that kind of sent a message pretty strong that the door's kind of shut on me at this point. So we'll see what happens in the future.
Yeah, pretty crazy right there. I don't want to get hung up on all that stuff. I want to go back to playing with you, man. Something that is, I think, overlooked by your incredible bat prowess was your glove work. When I look at fielders, there are guys that had to work at it and give max effort, like myself. And then there were other guys that were just so fluid and smooth. And you weren't even, or maybe correct me if I'm wrong, you started out as an outfielder and then came back into the infield, and your hands were smooth like a middle infielder, man. Your 3.63 feeds were always perfect, right on time. I've just you won a few Gold Gloves as well. Talk about a little bit about your defense.
Well, I was traded from the Cubs to the Rangers, and when I got traded, I was obviously an outfielder. I played left field for the Cubs, and Bobby Valentine, who was the manager with the Rangers, he called and asked if I had a first baseman's glove. And I said, no. He goes, well, you need to get one because you're going to be our first baseman. And so I did. I went to spring training. I'd never played first base in my life. Or maybe I played 1 or 2 games in Chicago. I don't remember specifically, but I worked really hard. I mean, it was a position that I wasn't familiar with, and there's a lot of responsibilities there. And so I just I decided, I'm going to be a good first baseman. I need to make sure that I don't screw up a game defensively for my team. I need to make sure that I can make some picks for my teammates in the infield and try to save some errors there and hopefully save some games. So I took it very seriously. I mean, I wanted to hit. And when I struck out and didn't get the big hit, and we didn't win the game because I didn't get a big hit, that was bad, but I didn't feel responsible at the time. But if I made an error and then didn't make the play or save a pick late in the game where maybe it cost us 2 runs, I felt responsible for that. So I didn't want to be responsible for us losing a game on defense.
Well, that's why you were such a great defender. I think all good defenders take it personally, man. Like, you don't want to let your teammates down. Staying on that subject, who taught you that? Where did you learn baseball, and who were your, like, when you were young, did you have a mentor?
Well, my dad, but my dad really, he was just an amateur player in Cuba, so he didn't really know a lot about the game other than just observing, just watching players, watching big league games. And so he taught me how to play in a primitive way, which I think is good for kids, just to kind of keep it simple. And as I got older, just watching other players and talking to other players, but playing first base, I never did. So I just kind of learned on the job. Obviously every major league team has infield coaches, and and they helped me a little bit. But I think the guy that helped me the most was Eddie Murray, actually, because I got a chance to play late in his career. And he actually gave me some tips on picking, because I was doing some stuff with my glove that was not proper, even though I was making most plays. But he gave me some tips, and I made some adjustments that really helped me.
Nice. Did Eddie have to offer you any advice at the plate? I mean, I think you were pretty set there, but maybe you had conversations.
Well, I had conversations with everyone. I mean, we always talked about hitting, whether, you were struggling or not. Hitters are always talking hitting. So, and you always want to pick the veterans' mind to see what they're thinking and, what type of stuff you need to look for in certain situations. But yeah, as a player, and, if you have veteran teammates, that's who you go to get advice and learn how to play this game.
How do you think you do in today's game with the more consistent, higher velocity fastballs? And what would your approach be?
The same. I mean, velocity didn't affect me that much. I mean, I didn't have a long swing. I wasn't really trying to hit the ball out of the park. My hands were quick, so my approach to hitting was just rhythm and timing. So whether it was 90 miles an hour or 100 miles an hour, it was just me timing the pitcher. So yeah, the pitch gets on you a little bit quicker, but because I had a short swing and a quick bat to the ball, that's just a matter of just seeing it all the time. Because we were seeing 92, 93 every night. Every now and then we saw 95, 96, but we made the adjustments. So if I had to see 95, 96, it would be no different than 92, 93.
More of the Bmore Baseball podcast coming right up. At Pappas Restaurants, we've been serving up Maryland's best crab cakes for over 5 decades, and now we make it easier than ever to get your favorites. With 4 restaurants and sports bar locations across Harford County, Baltimore County, and Anne Arundel County, you can stop in for fresh seafood, ice-cold drinks, and wall-to-wall TVs. But if you can't make it in, don't worry. We'll bring Pappas to you. Our new state-of-the-art shipping and commissary location on Bel Air Road in Nottingham means you can pick up fresh-made meals or have our famous crab cakes and seafood shipped anywhere in the country. Dine in, pick up, or ship nationwide. However you Pappas, we've got you covered. Order now at pappascrabcakes.com. Shop Maryland's largest adult use and medical cannabis menu located at 1114 Cathedral Street in Baltimore, with medical delivery available throughout Maryland 7 days a week. Only at Relief Shop.
Hello, my name is Reese Friedman, and I'm the daughter of Stephen L. Friedman and Rachel Friedman.
Hi, I'm Reese Friedman, a little bit older from the last time you saw me, but still the daughter of Stephen and Rachel Friedman and the granddaughter of Michael Friedman. Now, I'm here to tell you that the law offices of Michael Friedman are still the experts in the field of personal injury accident law. So if you or a loved one have been seriously injured in a motor vehicle accident, I do not want you to hesitate. Call us at 410-363-6848 or email us directly from our website, maflaw.com, for a free consultation. The law offices of Michael Friedman, serving the community for over 40 years.
Jerry Coleman here. I've been a client of the law offices of Michael A. Friedman for well over 25 years now. From motor vehicle accidents to other tort-related issues, 410-363-6848, or find them on their website at maflaw.com.
I'm retired now, but I was an Orioles home run. Grand slam, actually. Took a sweet ride right into the flag court, and it was awesome. Could be awesome for you too. If you play Home Run Riches from the Maryland Lottery, you could win instantly or be a contestant of the game and win $500 for being selected, $500 for every Orioles home run, and $5,000 for every grand slam. Sounds like a ball if you ask me. Enter all season at mdlottery.com.
I'm always curious in hearing the former players talk about the way the game has changed and how they process it with terms like exit velocity, barreling up, and oblique injuries that didn't seem to occur 20 years ago. So how do you process today's game, Rafi?
It's all the same. It's just different language. I mean, we saw, the pitchers throw 95. We don't need to see what's on the scoreboard flashing 95 because you see it. Your eyes are telling you that guy's throwing 95. And when you see a line drive hit at you that's coming at 110 miles an hour, you know it's coming in at 110 miles an hour because it probably went by you. You know what it looks like. But yeah, I mean, they've got a lot of stuff that they go by now, and that's fine. It's just more data that they look at, which I think it's in some cases is probably not a good thing because it's just overload with stuff,
Yeah. Do you how do you approach just watching again, or do you watch baseball now?
Yeah.
Because I get caught up in just the situational aspect of baseball now. I feel like it's just too, guys swinging hard and that's about it. And as far as like cutoffs and relays and just strategy of the game, it seems like it's gone by the wayside.
I don't watch that much. I mean, we've got the Rangers here that every now and then I might run into them during their game on TV, but I don't really watch that much. There's just too much stuff, like you said, no strategy. It's just get in the batter's box, swing the bat, try to hit a home run, and then just pass the baton and see if the next guy can go deep and hit a home run. But no hit and run, no bunting, no nothing. It's just the way the game is played today. But that's, I guess, what the fans want.
Yeah. Right. How about, you came up with the Cubs. I'm always intrigued about the players that guys came up with, and you have some Hall of Famers, and really every level you played at, your team was surrounded by like Hall of Fame guys. Did they have any influence on you as a young player? Like, for instance, Andre Dawson walking into that clubhouse?
Well, Andre Dawson, Ryan Sandberg, Rick Sutcliffe, Manny Trillo, Ron Say. It was amazing. But yeah, I think playing with veteran guys like that, you're expected to show up and play. I've got several stories. I remember playing in a game where Rick Sutcliffe was pitching. I think it was my second year in the league. And we had men on third base, less than 2 outs. The score was 2-1. It's the bottom of the 7th inning. We're playing it at home in Chicago. And I think I struck out looking. Okay. That's not a good thing. But, I came back into the dugout and Rick Sutcliffe was meeting me at the bottom step when I came down, and, the manager sits there, the coach sit the next, the bench coach, and, the rest of the team is sitting in there. He chewed my ass out so hard. He goes, man, I'm busting my ass trying to win this game. And, you're going to do that crap here in the big leagues. We're going to send your ass back down to AAA because that's not going to happen here. So I said, yes, sir. And so every time I came up to bat with men on third, from that point on, I had Rick Sutcliffe yelling in my ear, you better not screw up. You better not screw up, Yeah. So that's the kind of stuff I don't know if it happens today. I don't know if there's guys in the dugout when something like that happens. It seems like they're just saying, hey, maybe get them next time. But there was no next time for us. We had to get it done. And if we didn't get it done, go back down to AAA.
Man, oh man, do I support that, because I had so many veteran guys jump on me like, oh, what do we forget how to turn a double play? Or I had coaches call me in and say, do you understand the importance of the out at the major league level? So everything is so intense and focused. And I think that's the way it's supposed to be at the major league level. And I agree with you, Rafi. I think they're a little soft on guys right now. They're like, okay, go get them tomorrow. Well, yeah. I mean, my gosh, they're like, isn't supposed to be a tomorrow. You play for tonight and you play as hard as you can to win.
Other situations, men on second base, you got to get the guy over to third. And you actually have to give yourself up. I mean, back when we played, you can actually just see a right-handed hitter try to inside out a ground ball to the right side, and a lefty trying to pull the ball. I mean, you actually had to look like you were actually doing it. Now you just try to hit the ball wherever. You just try to hit the ball out of the park or try to drive them in yourself. Another one was men on first with the first baseman covering the runner, lefty hitter. Hit that hole, try to get him third, first and 30. I learned how to do that as a young player. I got so many hits like that early on in my career just because I had to get that ball on the ground to the right side. But now is different. And that's fine. I mean, the game has changed. But those things are just gone from the game for the most part.
Yeah, the way the game has changed. I know they're trying to speed it up and make it more, tasteable to the younger generation out there. Do you see that being impressed upon? I don't know whether you have grandkids or a younger generation out there picking up the game and taking it to the next level.
Well, I mean, they're speeding the game up because, for a time there, the games were going 3.5 hours or whatever. And it's because, you throw 150 pitches now to get 27 outs. I played with Greg Maddux. Greg Maddux threw 100 pitches or less in less than 2 hours to get out of a game. And I know people will say, yeah, but Greg Maddux couldn't pitch today. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Carve guys up.
That dude could pitch in any era, But the other thing is that a lot of swing and misses, a lot of non-contact at bats. So that, if you put all that together, that's kind of why the game expands to over 3 hours. But these things that they're doing, speeding the game up with the pitcher getting on the mound, you can teach that in the minor leagues. When you draft your guys, you say, hey, get the ball, get on the mound, get your sign, and let's go. And if you can start doing that from the minor leagues on, by the time they get to the big leagues, they're working fast. And then if you go with the hitters and say, hey, hit early in the count, get your pitch and hit a line drive somewhere, they're going to start making contact, and now you're going to get more outs. You may get some more hits. You might get some more action in the game, but I bet you the game is going to speed up that way.
Yeah. There's two other moments in Orioles history I wanted to ask you about. Let's go back to 1999. It was in March. You made the decision, as you mentioned, your father is from Cuba. The Orioles were playing that exhibition in Cuba. I know Bordick went. I made the trip. You stayed back for good reason. And now that that's in the rearview mirror, have you thought about what it would have been like to be on that trip? And what were you doing when the rest of the team was in Havana during that week?
I actually was in Texas at the time. I was already with the Rangers. That year in 98, at the end of the season in 98, Peter Angelos called me in the office, and he said, hey, we've got this thing going on with the Cuban national team for next year. But he was kind of alerting me with the thought that I was going to go back to Baltimore, which that was the plan all along. But he said, hey, we've got this thing with this 2-game series that we're going to play against the Cuban national team. and we're going to go down there to Havana to play them during spring training, and then they're going to come up during the first part of the the first week of our season. I think we've got a day off, and we're going to play them here. And I wanted to get your thoughts on what you want to do. And I said, I'm not gonna be a part of that. I said, Peter, it's not going to happen. My family left Cuba because of Fidel Castro and communism when I was a little kid, and I can't participate in anything like that because I've got too much respect for my family, for the Cuban community that left Cuba because of all the atrocities that he was committing in that country, and I just am not gonna. I'm not going to do that. And then he says, well, I understand that, I appreciate that. He goes, but I've got one request, which is unbelievable. He goes, Fidel Castro would like a signed bat from you. And I'm like, you gotta be effing kidding me. I'm not gonna sign a bat for him. Are you crazy? But anyway, I did watch the game. I mean, I signed with the Rangers that offseason. And I remember, I don't know what day it was. It was sometime during the spring, in the middle of the spring. It was live on ESPN, I believe it was. You were there, and so flight comes in. You guys are coming down the steps, and there he was down at the bottom of at the front of the line. And I'm like, I'm so thankful that I wasn't there for that, because who knows? I could have been still in Cuba. I could have been thrown in jail, and
right.
Who knows? I don't know.
Not if you sign the bat. Not if you sign the bat.
Yeah. Well, if I signed the bat, who knows what they would have done. But yeah, that's kind of the story. Yeah. I wasn't going to be a part of that just because of what the Cubans have gone through with my family. And, my dad and my mom would have probably never talked to me again if I'd have done that. So yeah, I just decided not to be. And I was here. I was in Texas anyway. So it was easy obviously, because I wasn't there.
Oh, good. Yeah, I forgot you had moved on to the Rangers at that juncture. All right, so we're closing in on the 30-year anniversary of Cal surpassing Lou Gehrig's consecutive game streak. You played a big part in that and shoving Cal out of the dugout. What was behind all that? Was Cal reluctant to come out of the dugout, and might we see you shove him out of the dugout again?
Well, you guys know Cal Ripken, obviously. He doesn't care anything about any of that. He just wanted to play the game. Every game that he came out, he wanted to play the game. He wanted to do his thing. He wanted to do his job. He wanted to help the team win. And then he wanted to sign his autograph for everybody that was waiting, shower, go home, and then do the same thing again the next day. And so leading up to the streak, that was how it was done. Every fifth inning, they would stop the game for, the little 2-minute ceremony in between the top and the bottom of the fifth. But that night, once it just got there, he would come out and, tip his hat, then would go sit down. And he did that several times. And I just finally said, Cal, we're going to be here all night. So, you're going to have to do something different than what you're doing. And he didn't want any of that. He just said, hey, let's start the game. He kept saying, we need to get back out there. Let's go. We need to start the game. And so I don't know if he got up that one time, and I just Bobby stood with me, and it wasn't planned or anything. We just kind of organically did it, and we just kind of pushed him out, and he kind of went towards the first base down the line like that, and it just became the lap that everyone remembers now. But you know what? It's kind of like, the way I see it, it's kind of like 17 years. I think it was 17 years building up to this moment, and I think that was kind of his way of saying thank you to the fans, and the fans saying back to him, thank you so much for giving us all these years and always showing up for us.
Yeah, the beauty of that moment was truly what you said. Just, it was so organic and natural. There was the humility that Cal, and the graciousness, and then you guys saying, go take this one time and enjoy it. And I think the whole stadium was just captivated. And so was Fenway Park, because that's where I was. And the game stopped, and they put it on the board at Fenway Park. This was a baseball, this is what baseball is all about, celebrating these accomplishments by some of the greatest players. And I thought that was an iconic moment when you pushed him out of that dugout.
Yeah, and he deserves it. He didn't want any part of that. But, if you look back on what that meant to baseball, and just playing in 2,131 straight games, I mean, come on, man. Guys are playing 140 games now a year. They're taking a game off every 2 weeks, and that's fine. But he played the game every day, and he felt that him at 70% was better than whoever was going to play in his position that night. So he came to play every day, and he came to produce, to help our team win. And he was a robot, and he did the exact same thing every day, preparing for the game. And that night, that was it. That was the volcano erupting in celebration of Cal Ripken's career.
All right. Well, Rafi, we appreciate the time. Before I let you go, I mean, how much did you have to strain and stretch trying to take in a Bordick throw? I mean, how much did that cause you back?
Bordick was good, man. You know, the one that gave me the one that gave me trouble was Cal Ripken's sinker. Yeah, when he moved over to third, his ball was like dipping really bad, and I would tell Cal, just kind of aim, to this side of my body up here, so that by the time the ball gets to me, I'm catching it at least, chest high or waist high. And it was always a bang, bang play. Cal made all the plays bang, bang, no matter if it was a hard hit ball or a nice routine ball. Everything was like bang, bang. But, all those throws were sinkers. The only time that he threw the ball over the top was to his backhand down the line. And he got the ball there. But Bordy was consistent. Bordy gave me some good throws. I don't think I had to pick him very much. He was good. He was awesome to watch.
Well, I know you had to pick me
to play with, and he could hit too. He could hit. Glove, but the dude could hit too.
Not one dimensional. We've learned he can hit too.
Yeah. Right.
Rafi, really grateful for you taking the time. Great to see you in Baltimore. Hopefully, we'll see you back at Camden Yards soon.
Yes, I'll be back. I'll be back for sure.
Thanks so much,
Rafi. Guys. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate that, man.
You got it, man.
All right. That was pretty awesome. Thank you, Rafael Palmiero.
More of the Bmore Baseball Podcast coming right up. It's saving season at Lido Pizza. 99-cent refreshing iced teas for spring and summer. Or $6 calzones every Tuesday. There are tons of new deals and rewards for everyone. Exclusively at LidoPizza.com or on the Lido Pizza app. Lido Pizza, a local legend since 1955. Proud partner of the Baltimore Orioles.
In a city where passion runs deep, on the stage and on the field, Baltimore knows how to bring the heat. Whether it's a game-winning home run or a breathtaking violin solo, this town plays to win. The Baltimore Chamber Orchestra champions the creative soul of our city with bold performances of classically captivating music. Join the team that brings precision, power, and heart to every performance. Learn more and get your season tickets now at thebco.org.
They say it all comes back to your roots, right? At Grassroots, high-quality cannabis is in their nature. From soil to soul, their passion for cannabis and community inspires everything they do. Try your favorite strains from their cultivar library of top-shelf flower, pre-rolls, and concentrates. Whether you're cheering from the stands or chanting for the O's at home, their crafted flower helps you curate the perfect game day. Ask for Grassroots Cannabis at your favorite dispensary in Maryland. Everyone knows Greenmount Station in Hampstead, but did you know that at Greenmount Station you can bet 7 days a week just like you're at the track? With in-person teller windows and state-of-the-art touchscreen kiosks. And with Greenmount Station's brand new Bet Park Sportsbook, you can bet on all other sports as well, wherever you are in Maryland. Spreads, money lines, live bets, props, parlays, and teasers. The Bet Parks Maryland mobile app is now live for Apple and Android devices, so you'll never miss your next big score. Just search for Bet Parks MD in the Apple App Store or on Google Play. 21 and over only. Please play responsibly. For help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Effective Solutions, your one-stop shop for commercial contracting. Everything from excavation and site development to emergency remediation and restoration. Effective Solutions specializes in many forms of commercial and mixed-use construction. With a dedicated staff and a commitment to quality, Effective Solutions delivers every time.
Let's move on to For the Birds, sponsored as always by our friends at the Maryland Lottery. And playing the Maryland Lottery responsibly means knowing what's true and what's not about your favorite games. Learn the facts and the myths at mdlottery.com. That's mdlottery.com. And please, as always, play responsibly. Well, Orioles fans have been clamoring. They've been waiting a long time for catcher Samuel Basayo and outfielder Dylan Beavers to make their major league debuts. They have done that very successfully, I think. But the timing for a lot of fans was a bit odd. What do you make of the Orioles' decision to wait and bring these guys up and really keep them eligible for the Roy, the Rookie of the Year honors, which they're still in consideration heading into next season?
No, absolutely. I think this is the way the Orioles are going to do their business from here on out. They kind of showed their cards. Instead of tanking and getting a first-round pick, you can still lose and get an advantage, I think, in the draft. But the Orioles have to find a way to continue to replenish their organization. So taking a chance on Basayo and Beavers as being potentially rookie of the year next year, they can get a nice spot, a compensation pick in the draft. So that's really what their goal is. And I don't blame them for doing it. Listen, what's a couple more weeks going to hurt? And I think this is a great opportunity for these young players to kind of not excel, but at least get their feet wet at the major leagues. And I think the Orioles use this as a great evaluation tool to see what they're going to need actually in 2026.
Right. I don't think these two are going to make a difference in terms of where this team finishes in the standing, but getting them a taste of the major league life is great. And again, I mean, there's nothing to lose at this juncture.
No, absolutely not. This is all invaluable experience. And as a matter of fact, Manzolino kind of alluded to the fact that these guys can't come up here and just be happy to be rookies and, play in the big leagues. I mean, this is where you have to learn about routines, the right way to go about your business, the right way to kind of raise your own personal bar to make yourself better every day you go to the field. It's only about winning at the major league level. These guys got to develop a little bit, obviously, but let's do this for a month and a half and then get them ready to shock the world in 2026.
Yep. Looking forward to seeing them playing at Camden Yards coming up soon. All right, let's move beyond Baltimore. Brought to you by Relief Shop, Baltimore's best adult use of medical cannabis dispensary and 700 plus unique menu items and home delivery available for medical patients only from Relief Shop. Let's take a glance, shall we, at some of the Major League divisional standings and races around the game. Bordy, things are tight in some places as we head down the stretch. Let's begin in the AL East because it seems like it's Toronto's division to lose despite what happened to them against the Orioles. The Orioles took care of them recently, but the Orioles may be a factor in all this in terms of outcome and scheduling, Bordy.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you for sure, because, the Orioles started to play some pretty good baseball. And actually, I think ever since Manzolino took over, they're a little bit above 500. So this is going to be the challenge, man. Can they continue to play this great brand of baseball and be really the spoiler down the stretch? They've got stretches against the Red Sox and the Yankees coming up. They still have to play the Blue Jays and other divisions as well. Listen, they just toppled the Mariners and Houston, and they're going to have to play those guys again. And they're going to have to play a couple teams from the National League West. How about the Dodgers and the Padres coming around? So the Orioles could still have a huge impact on the postseason. I'm excited to see how they challenge these teams, at least the potential playoff teams.
Yeah, spoiler alert, the Orioles could play that role. All right, let's move to the Central, where it's Detroit's division to lose right now, and they have a substantial lead over Cleveland, but the Guardians are also looking to make the postseason towards another avenue.
Yeah, this is typical Guardian baseball, right? They go on these nice little runs. It's a well-rounded team. They do the little things well, and that's what kind of gets them into the postseason. They've made a surge. They're not going to catch the Tigers, I don't think, by any stretch, but they are making a push for the wild card, and it's getting pretty interesting between them, Kansas City, and believe it or not, I still can't count the Rangers out. The Rangers, if you ask me, fit right into that category of what happened to the Braves, what happened to the Orioles, and what the heck happened to the Rangers? I mean, this is a team that is just recently removed from winning the World Series. They've still got their whole lineup, and their pitching is healthy, and they still can't find a way to win. They've got a big series coming up, though. I know we talked about the Guardians. The Rangers take on the Guardians and the Royals. This could be where they get a little confidence and maybe propel themselves in potentially a wild card spot.
Yeah, because that AL West looks like Seattle and Houston, two clubs the Orioles, as you mentioned, just handled pretty easily, but they're battling.
Yeah, they are battling, and it makes you scratch your head, right? The Mariners went out, and if you ask me, did the right thing at the deadline. They went out and got Suarez. They needed some bats. They got Naylor, the big first baseman. They've got one of the best pitching staffs in all of baseball. There are really no excuses right now other than do what they do every year, and that's flop. Is Houston going to win again, win that division again? Well, they just got taken 2 out of 3 by the Orioles. So, listen, this is really intriguing. I think, in my opinion, what's happened in Major League Baseball, the reason why there's all this bizarre parity is the amount of injuries. It's kind of brought every team back, and now their whole organization gets challenged, and it's going to be fun to see how these teams respond down a stretch.
Well, injuries have certainly impacted the Dodgers as we shift to the National League, but they took care of business over this past weekend, sweeping all 3 games from the Padres as those 2 teams collided, and they will once again, more than once.
Yeah, no, exactly. And there you go. And we get to see, the Orioles. Can they play spoiler again with those 2 big teams? This is going to be potentially the Padres, in my opinion, their last chance, man. The Dodgers have just been floundering. They do not look like the best team in baseball, but they do continue to have that kind of depth. I expect them to go on a run. But, man, the Padres have an incredible opportunity once again to take over the West. Just going to be another fun run here down the stretch. Manny Machado is playing like an MVP again. Fun team to watch. Really fun.
Definitely 2 franchises that are heavily invested in getting to the postseason and going very far in October. All right, let's bring in the doc for our What's Up the Doc segment. What's Up Doc is sponsored by the law offices of Michael A. Friedman, my personal attorneys for well over 25 years. There's always a live person when you call the law offices of Michael A. Friedman at 410-363-6848. On a personal note, hopefully Michael's shoulder is feeling better and he'll be back on the mound soon. You know who won't be back on the mound soon as I make that transition? That would be Felix Bautista, Doc. His year ended early for the closer once again. Different injury, though. It was diagnosed, I don't know, the complexity of the shoulder issues as opposed to an elbow issue. The manager described it as substantial. Your evaluation of what you heard and what we can anticipate.
Well, it's clearly not good. I think just in a general overview, while we hear so much about Tommy John surgery, your elbow basically flexes and extends. It doesn't really do much other than that. And many people can get a little stiffness in their elbow. As Mike knows, he has a little flexion contracture, and you can still play and throw fine. So even though it's Tommy John's a big operation, your elbow can have a good chance of success with the Tommy John. And if you have to clean it out or remove some bone spurs, as we heard happened recently, the chance of success is very good. The shoulder is a much more complex joint because the shoulder is there to move your hand any place in space. So you need an incredible range of motion to your shoulder. And your shoulder has more critical parts. It has the well-known rotator cuff, which has multiple muscles, but it also has the front of the shoulder called the capsule that keeps your shoulder from getting too loose and unstable. It has a gasket called the labrum, which gets heavily stressed. And then, of course, you've got your biceps tendon running right across it and sitting in top of the area where the labrum is. So many of those things can go wrong. And all pitchers who pitched through Little League, high school, college have something abnormal on their shoulder MRI. So it gets tricky to figure out what the real problem is. Most players with more than 300-400 innings have partial tears of their cuff. So the biggest catastrophes in the shoulder are really 2. One is a full thickness rotator cuff tear, which has historically been a career ender. Once that happens, and I've had some classy pitchers who are very sophisticated in their pitching, kind of dragged through a year or 2 with a full thickness cuff tear, but they got away by throwing in the high 80s and manipulating the ball. There's really nobody that I'm aware of who's come back from a complete rotator cuff tear and pitched. You can come back from other positions, but that's hard to throw 95 with a repaired cuff. The other thing that people don't really appreciate unless they're in baseball is the laxity of the shoulder. Most of these great throwers have unbelievable shoulder laxity. It's kind of a famous tale that Pedro Martinez, who's not the biggest guy in the world, either subluxed or dislocated his shoulder with the Dodgers, and the great Frank Jobe kind of nixed him, and he got traded for Delano DeShields. And clearly, Pedro turned out to be pretty good. And we've had some shoulders who are fabulous pitchers who are super loose, but harvest it. But sometimes the shoulder gets so loose, you just can't play. I believe that happened to, was it Brent Taylor, the Yankees' first-round pick, who got into a fight and dislocated his shoulder way back when, and they couldn't do it. Brett Saberhagen had that problem, and in fact, he got on the front page of USA Today because Dr. Olczyk repaired it, and he sat out a year, and he did have kind of a good year, But A, he was pitching with all kinds of rest, and B, the second year he couldn't do it. So my concern with Batista, since they said it's a serious issue, and since he seriously throws at huge velocity, that he may be suffering from either a full thickness cuff tear or his shoulder may have stretched out in the front so much they really can't tighten it enough to allow him to pitch. So the Orioles are doing what most teams do today, and Mike always does, is they're shopping around the country to the so-called usual suspects. And my suspicion is one of those guys, be it Meister or Elatrash, will probably end up doing some procedure on him. And the Orioles have been so mysterious about it. And as I've said before, the Orioles have been incredibly good at being very transparent with injuries, unless you guys would have other thoughts. I think they reveal more than most teams. So the fact that they're being so opaque about this would suggest to me that he probably has a significant cuff injury, or the front of his shoulder has gotten so loose that he's become unstable and just can't pitch.
Well, it's terrible news. And I do want to talk about the Orioles' transparency during another episode. That's something that just piqued my interest for a future episode. Dr. Michael Jacobs, as always, appreciate your input, courtesy of the law offices of Michael A. Friedman. Thanks to all our sponsors, like the law offices of Michael A. Friedman or Eric at Effective Solutions, for supporting this podcast and making it happen.
They say it all comes back to your roots, right? At Grassroots, high-quality cannabis is in their nature. From soil to soul, their passion for cannabis and community inspires everything they do. Try your favorite strains from their cultivar library of top-shelf flower, pre-rolls, and concentrates. Whether you're cheering from the stands or chanting for the O's at home, their crafted flower helps you curate the perfect game day. Ask for Grassroots Cannabis at your favorite dispensary in Maryland.
Hello, my name is Reese Friedman, and I'm the daughter of Stephen L. Friedman and Rachel Friedman.
Hi, I'm Reese Friedman. A little bit older from the last time you saw me, but still the daughter of Stephen and Rachel Friedman and the granddaughter of Michael Friedman. Now, I'm here to tell you that the law offices of Michael Friedman are still the experts in the field of personal injury accident law. So if you or a loved one have been seriously injured in a motor vehicle accident, I do not want you to hesitate. Call us at 410-363-6848 or email us directly from our website, maflaw.com, for a free consultation. The law offices of Michael Friedman, serving the community for over 40 years.
Jerry Coleman here. I've been a client of the law offices of Michael A. Friedman for well over 25 years now. From motor vehicle accidents to other tort-related issues, 410-363-6848, or find them on their website at maflaw.com.
In a city where passion runs deep, on the stage and on the field, Baltimore knows how to bring the heat. Whether it's a game-winning home run or a breathtaking violin solo, this town plays to win. The Baltimore Chamber Orchestra champions the creative soul of our city with bold performances of classically captivating music. Join the team that brings precision, power, and heart to every performance. Learn more and get your season tickets now at thebco.org.
I'm retired now, but I was an Orioles home run. Grand slam, actually. Took a sweet ride right into the flag court, and it was awesome. Could be awesome for you, too. If you play Home Run Riches from the Maryland Lottery, you could win instantly, or be a contestant of the game and win $500 for being selected, $500 for every Orioles home run, and $5,000 for every Grand Slam. Sounds like a ball, if you ask me. Enter all season at mdlottery.com.
At Pappas Restaurants, we've been serving up Maryland's best crab cakes for over 5 decades, and now we make it easier than ever to get your favorites. With 4 restaurants and sports bar locations across Harford County, Baltimore County, and Anne Arundel County, you can stop in for fresh seafood, ice-cold drinks, and wall-to-wall TVs. But if you can't make it in, don't worry. We'll bring Pappas to you. Our new state-of-the-art shipping and commissary location on Bel Air Road in Nottingham means you can pick up fresh-made meals or have our famous crab cakes and seafood shipped anywhere in the country. Dine in, pick up, or ship nationwide. However you Pappas, we've got you covered. Order now at pappascrabcakes.com. It's saving season at Lido Pizza. 99-cent refreshing iced teas for spring and summer. Or $6 calzones every Tuesday. There are tons of new deals and rewards for everyone. Exclusively at LidoPizza.com or on the Lido Pizza app. Lido Pizza, a local legend since 1955. Proud partner of the Baltimore Orioles. Everyone knows Greenmount Station in Hampstead, but did you know that at Greenmount Station you can bet 7 days a week just like you're at the track? With in-person teller windows and state-of-the-art touchscreen kiosks. And with Greenmount Station's brand new Bet Park Sportsbook, you can bet on all other sports as well, wherever you are in Maryland. Spreads, money lines, live bets, props, parlays, and teasers. The Bet Parks Maryland mobile app is now live for Apple and Android devices, so you'll never miss your next big score. Just search for Bet Parks MD in the Apple App Store or on Google Play. 21 and over only. Please play responsibly. For help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Shop Maryland's largest adult use and medical cannabis menu located at 1114 Cathedral Street in Baltimore, with medical delivery available throughout Maryland 7 days a week. Only at Relief Shop. Effective Solutions, your one-stop shop for commercial contracting. Everything from excavation and site development to emergency remediation and restoration. Effective Solutions specializes in many forms of commercial and mixed-use construction. With a dedicated staff and a commitment to quality, Effective Solutions delivers every time.
Thanks to senior executive producer Chip Franklin also for putting this latest episode together. He never listens, but he does watch. Until next time, be real, be kind, and make sure to be in on the next episode of the Bmore Baseball Podcast and enjoy this exclusive.
Do you know who I am? I'm kind of a big deal.